You guys ever think like the feds are watching you and like they're trying to get you to do things that you wouldn't normally do on your own? I think they're trying to Joe Exotic me. And I know you're going to think that that sounds like cuckoo, cuckoo, right? But them fellas in Ohio probably said the same thing. Like, nah, the feds wouldn't do that. And then they planted that fake thing by the bridge. And then the feds were like, ha, we got you. Because they were just sitting in a bar having a few beers. And the feds were like, hey, you guys want to go do this to the bridge? And the guys were like, yeah, absolutely. At least that's what the guy's side of the story was. I don't know how they got Joe Exotic, but I think they're trying to Joe Exotic me, and I think they're using Mosaic to do it. See, I got a message the other day that said, hey, do you want to help me do this to Mosaic? And I was like, whoa, this guy's feds. And then the peer pressure didn't stop there. This guy was on there, he was like, you're a liberal. He won't do anything when it comes to Mosaic. I'm like, what are you talking about? I expose Mosaic and what they do all the time. Like these documents from the federal EPA that were exempt from the Freedom of Information Act that says that the phosphate mines cause radiation. And they even have a term for it called technically enhanced naturally occurring radioactive material. Local bureaucrats called me a radioactive radical because I pointed out that their parks had radiation in it and that they sent an expert out there and the expert recommended a 3.5-hour time limit at Medard Park phosphate tailings. The radioactive road bill that this guy's talking about ought to be called a heavy metal road bill because it's not the radiation that's going to get you from that stuff. It's all the other heavy metals that are in this phosphogypsum, like arsenic. Arsenic was used back in the cattle industry in Florida. They had cattle vats. They would run the cattle through it. It would kill off all of the ticks and parasites that were on the cattle. Those fields where the cattle vats are, a lot of people have problems selling them now because of the arsenic that's still down there in that ground. And they're going to put this stuff in the road bed. So when they put the asphalt on, they go ahead right now and they mix it with limestone with this big working soil mixer. They're going to mix the phosphogypsum into the ground below the asphalt. In Plant City at the old Cornet plant, people started to get sick around the plant. Employees stepped forward and said, hey, they had us illegally bury some of this byproduct out there. And that's why they found high levels of arsenic out there in Cornet Industries in Plant City. The one thing about the phosphate industry is that we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Right now in Mosaic plants, I have people that will send me videos and go, hey, they're burying stuff so radioactive in their plants, no other landfill would want it. And because I've pointed out the dangers of Oak Ridge and Grassland community and repeating that history, the state level bureaucrats now have a law going through and the phosphate industry is pushing it that would make building on these old sites easier. So you could see why I would think the feds and Mosaic would work together to try to put me in the clink clink next to Joe Exotic. And Greg, if you are a fed, do better. And if you're not a fed, please at least spell special ops correctly. I'm Matt the Welder. God bless America, and I really miss Johnny Cash.